Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 11 of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Lost Everything. Remember to get this one to 100 likes as usual, share this to all of your friends on your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Jashin sealed inside of him, and enjoy that guys. And also, I posted a brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a Direct Descendant of a Sage, so go ahead and check out that and enjoy. And remember to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family, and thank you for all of your help and support. And yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode? Start the intro, let's begin. So the last spot we left off, the three groups enter the Forest of Death. The Kumo and Kiri team create an alliance between themselves as they attack the Konoha team. Well, they were pushing up the wrong tree. Ninjutsu got placed under Itachi Sharingan as it then went off, exploding tags swamped the area. As Naruto was able to draw seals. Yes, he was getting quite efficient in the art of Fuinjutsu when it comes to seal drawing. And he was able to draw the explosive tag seals as he swallowed the air in explosions. Anko summoned a large amount of snakes as the snakes were able to poof back to the summoning realm while they released the seals. As the two teams were scarred. When they finally arrived, they were smoking as their bodies were burned. Many small burn marks over their body as they wanted to kill the Konoha team for what they did. But they eventually passed the exam, seeing that their number was short. They were going straight to the finals. The time passed rather quickly as everyone got themselves ready. Everyone was there, the Hyugas, the Uchihas, the Naras, the Aburami, the Akimichis. Everyone was there, as Naruto was there as well, holding a big flag with Naruto's face on it as she was waving it. In the box, a representative came from Kiri, and that was Zabuza. A representative came from Kumo as well, as that was Killer Bee. Minato was in there along with his wife and his daughter Katsumi, as she was in Kushina's lap. The matches down below went on as Anko lost against Yujito. The girl was just too fast for her. As Itachi took on Kojiro, Minjutsu was angry as Kojiro was taken out so easy. The match didn't even last a couple of seconds as Itachi Sharingan took him out easily. As Naruto went down there and he faced off against Amoy. With a wing jutsu, Naruto was able to cancel out Amoy's attack, and he cut Amoy badly. Even though his element was water, he was learning in wind. As Minato saw that Naruto was getting a lot stronger, Kushina saw it as well. Katsumi was taking in different reaction from her parents, as when she found out that Yujito was a Jinchuriki, as she found out that the Senju boy was a Jinchuriki as well. She didn't even know that he was her brother at all, as she was excited to see the power that they were going to throw around. As Naruto faced off against Yujito, he scared her, literally scared her, for her to bring out the two-tail, as it was miniature. Killer Bee told the Hokage that he will go down there and stop it if he has to, as Minato was ready to take action if he have to, if that thing went crazy or out of control. As Naruto used the smoke and used his chameleons, as he was able to knock back the two-tail, and Yujito was knocked unconscious, as everyone was surprised by that, as Snavy had won the bet that she made with Fukaku, thinking that Naruto wouldn't win against a two-tailed beast. After that, Itachi made his way down there with Minjutsu, who was determined to show that Kiri had the strongest ninjas. So yeah guys, that was basically as we left off. You guys can switch across the place and check it out for yourself. So just to begin this new episode, we'll see if your tricks will take me down, said Minjutsu, as his grin widened on his face. Minjutsu ensured that his gaze were on the ground and not at the Uchiha. After all, that is what Kojiro did, and lost the fight so quickly because he looked right into the Uchiha eyes. Itachi on the other hand flared his Sharingan and ninjato in his right hand. Oh, want to use your puny sword, huh? Ninjutsu wasn't a fool. He knew that the boy would probably go with a dodging preference in the attacks, probably trying to be nimble. A pity the arena had been so destroyed in the previous fights. There was holes, trenches, and most of them were filled with water. The size doesn't matter. It seems like you compensate with a big sword because you're lacking something else, Itachi said. As Mikato eye twitched, as Fukaku looked towards her, it's a tactic of taunting your opponent, he said. Who taught him that, she said. As Kakashi had to keep himself from laughing, Itachi had started to taunt his opponent. It seems like Anko was influencing him more than he thought. Ready? Said Kakashi. With that, ninjutsu charged forward. A fire jutsu was the first thing that met him as he parried with his blade. As he burst through the smoke, he clenched his teeth as his grip tightened on his blade. Itachi had vanished from view as he looked around. I know you did it, Ninjutsu, as he closed his eyes. He was a user of the silent killing technique just like Zabuza as well. And there was a core use to that technique. Understanding how to pinpoint your enemy location by sound. The better one was in hearing your sound of your enemy, the better you were. If you could hear your enemy heartbeat, your sword should already be plunging through their chest. As he blocked Itachi's blade at the side of his head. Before turn as he kicked Itachi in the stomach as Itachi rolled down into one of the holes that Nebi Fire had created. Itachi near this as the Kira ninja. This one was different from the other one that he fought. This one was clearly trained and better by far. You are strong, Itachi said, but you fight alone. His Sharingan spin as he went through hand sign, water style. As the water came up into a massive water dragon. Obviously, he had to get it down before me, said Naruto. Obviously, he had to show off his B-rank technique. He's still good. As Naruto looked towards the water dragon with a small smile, Ninjutsu tried to parry it, but it slammed right against him as it slammed him right into the barrier. The only thing that released jolts of current when it was struck, as it could repel jutsus. And Ninjutsu loved to turn his body into water, and it seemed to be having a negative effect on that, which Itachi seemed to have noticed. Ninjutsu howled in pain, but his hand was still gripped tightly on his blade. As he wouldn't let go, the water pressure of the dragon slamming him right into the barrier that protected the civilians. The dragon then dispersed, as Ninjutsu had burst into a puddle. His body liquefied because his body was unable to keep up, seeing that he was electrocuted, and it seemed like electricity was his worst enemy. As he glared up at Itachi with anger, I hate you, he said. But he glared up at Itachi as his body reformed. That was the wrong thing to do. His body then went still as Itachi's Sharingan spin. Itachi stepped forward and placed a kunai at his throat as he was under his genjutsu. Itachi turned towards Kakashi. Kakashi repressed the urge to chuckle as he turned towards Kage's box as Minato repressed the urge to grin. 2 out of 2 defeated by the same technique, same style in the same way. I'm gonna drill them into how to dispel genjutsus. Tough luck for your Kyuubi brat. He's never gonna make it past those eyes, Zabuza said, as Killer Bee could only help but smirk. I'm sure the last fight's gonna be interesting. A pity Yujito-chan got knocked out and not seen it. He glanced towards Naruto was limping back to the stage. Though, he seemed low on chakra, you know. Even the Uchiha is. One would think that they planned it, said Zabuza, just to have a fair fight. As Minato eyes narrowed, looking at the scene. Could they have really planned that much ahead to know that they would defeat all their opponents? Down there, Itachi versus Naruto. Naruto-kan, Itachi said. As he barely made a nod, his ninjato in front of him. Itachi-kan, said Naruto, his tanto in his hand and smile on his lips. Boys, said Kakashi, give the people a show they can remember. Now, begin. And with that, the both of them move as they clash. There was no need for eye genjutsus. Itachi can use them, but Naruto can simply remove them. There was no need for flashy jutsus. They would simply nullify each other. To them, it was only a spar with a victor and a spar to defeated. To them, it was nothing more than that. The tanto and ninjato split through the air as they clashed, sparks spreading everywhere. Suddenly, Itachi's eyes started to spin as the genjutsu was placed in Naruto's mind. Itachi moved forward as Naruto ducked before Itachi could grab his tanto out of his arm. As Naruto spinned out with a slash, but Itachi parried to the side as Naruto looked up with a smile. As Itachi smiled back, he leaped away from Naruto. Itachi moved and Naruto moved as well. Their blades clashed as Naruto grabbed Itachi's left shoulder and yanked him. Itachi flipped over Naruto as he brought down a punch with his right hand, flipping his sword to his other hand as Naruto blocked Itachi's sword and smashed his fist forward, their fists connected. The both of them then ensue in a taijutsu battle as their legs came up. blocking each other attack. As Itachi knew that he couldn't try another and apply a genjutsu, as Naruto would simply break out of it. As much as he thought he would have to use ninjutsu to win this fight, well, he could use that technique Kakashi had taught him, but no. That was an assassination technique never used on a comrade, a teammate, or a friend. As Naruto knew that as well. That is why he wasn't resorting to jutsus that was used for assassination purposes. The fight was silent as the only thing could be heard was their blades or their fists connecting. Then the slip, as Naruto chakra depletion made him lose balance. Itachi grabbed the opening as he threw Naruto over to the side as Naruto crashed on the ground. As he was panting, exhaustion, the enemy of all shinobis, Zabuza said. I doubt he would get up after that. It was good enough that he got to the stage though. Ma, that's a strange thought, said Killer B. All the Jinjulkis I fought, they all acted real tough. And they were never ragged, that thorough, B said. His eyes were narrowed behind his shades though, as he couldn't figure out how the life of him that this boy was a Jinjulki. As Naruto slowly got back up to his feet, he stood back up like an invisible hand and lifted him onto his feet. He did not get up with his legs, he just got up. As Naruto slowly raised his right hand, it seemed to be just lifting, and Itachi felt pain. Something slammed into his gut, throwing him back, before he was yanked back towards Naruto. As Naruto curled his fist and smashed it right in Itachi's face. Itachi was sent sailing as he knocked right on the ground. But so did Naruto fall as well. Everyone stood silent in the arena around them. What the hell just happened? You know, chameleons are real loyal, said Zabuza. That one though, I didn't think that he would trick the arena and the boy itself. Zabuza's eyes were accustomed to see the camouflage of water jutsus. But the chameleon, it was good at it, as Kozu slowly smiled as he dispersed this time truthfully. After all, he never went away the first time. After all, who did the black hair boy think he was? After their summoner was tired to bully him like that, Kakashi moved over to where both boys lay. Both of them are out cold. Winner, no one. It's a draw. As Kakashi said that, loud whines echo, especially in the Uchiha era, as the Inuzukas howled. It was a good match despite no winner. He didn't win, Kiba shouted. Tasumi simply laughed. You can't win all your fights, pup. Mom, just what was that last attack? Said Hana. It seems that Naruto was down for the count and then he just got back up. Well, it seemed like you didn't smell it well, but the boy had summoned two hidden reptiles. One of them had stayed behind, and it seemed to help the boy in the last moment. But wouldn't that be cheating? Hana whispered. No, it's no different than leaving a Kona on the ground. Summons are useful like that. Well, it depends on the summon goodwill. The Hyugas clapped silently while the Aburame buzzed. Snazzy was being reprimanded by Shizune. That is why you shouldn't have bet on the tournament. This is all your fault. Sensei fought very well, didn't he? Said Nechi as he looked towards where Ayam was standing. If someone were to be there for him when you wake up, I'm sure that you'll be really grateful, said Nechi. Ayam eyes light up at that, as she followed Snazzy, who was going to the medical era, to heal her son, so she could be there as well. With that, Nechi smiled. Meanwhile, inside the mindscape, there it was, the fox sleeping in the bed as usual, that his mind seemed to create the entire time. The choker was tighter on her neck, as it seemed to be making her bleed, but instead of blood, small, blue choker was wisping out in the air. He had promised not to loosen the seal, right? But the seal had never been that tight. He could see her ragged breathing, so he was just gonna put it back to normal, the way it was before, as he moved it back, until the blue ear stopped seeping out of her neck. As she started to sleep more comfortable. Feeling woozy, he collapsed on the bed, as he was gonna grab a quick nap as well. It was like he had anything better to do. After all, he was so exhausted, he probably lost against Itachi. Time skip. The medicine area had a total of 20 beds, all of them separated by a private curtain. There wasn't much noise in there, as Snazzy was looking over Naruto. To the side of his bed was a worried Uncle Midarashi on her own bed. Uncle had saw Naruto enter the room on a stretcher, but she didn't pry much, because he didn't look like he was in that bad of a condition, until he was attached to the machines that were normally taken to count the heartbeat of the subject. As Naruto's body had turned pale, Snazzy herself was trying to find out the reason, but for the life of her, she could not find out what was going on. It was like his chakra was disappearing out of his coils to God knows where. As Uncle was kept on asking her as well if Naruto was alright, if he was going to be okay. As Uncle had came to a theory, she had saw Itachi came in as well, unconscious. The Nibi had hit the both of them hard. Uncle had cracked ribs. Her entire body felt sore, but with the painkiller, She didn't feel that too bad. But suddenly, Anko heard the machine start to beep loudly. Snazama-'s coils are nearly empty. This looked far worse than normal chakra exhaustion. Something is, Anko was trying to force herself to get up. Get back to bed, Shizune said. He get better if he bite people. He sucked chakra by biting them, Anko said. Snazama, did you hear that? Snazzy looked at Anko, who simply nodded, as she brought her hand near Naruto, who bit her. Suddenly, her seal activated as her chakra started to pour into the boy. It flew into his body to be absorbed. The bruise, the scrape started to disappear from his body, as the machine started to give a steady beat, as his eyes snapped open. A moment later, Snazzy removed her arm. The bite wound closed up, as the young seal healed it. "You alright, Naruto-chan," said Snazzy, as she looked directly in his eyes. "I think I'm hungry," he said. Anko released a sigh. Typical. Now he's gonna ask for ramen, isn't he? That was her way of coping. To return back to her way of talking, her normal tomboy attitude. After all, it was one thing to lose someone like Orochimaru because he betrayed her and used her like a subject. But Naruto, she was nearly having a mental breakdown just a moment ago. Anko-chan, I defeated... Naruto was cut off as that moment Minato chose to enter the medical bay. His cloak flutter as he stepped inside. His hat was in his hand. "Well, if it isn't the Hokage," Snazzy muttered. "To what do we owe this visit?" she said. "I thought I should mention it now to give the boy some more time to think. But I've already received 20 recommendations to put Naruto Senjo in Anvu," said Minato. As Naruto said nothing, seemed to wait for the rest of Minato's words. "No," said Snazzy. "You are not put in Anvu. The decision is not of yours, Snazzy-san, but of your son. Also," he turned to look at where Itachi form lay in his own bed. The offer was already proposed to Fukaku, and he said that his son would accept it wholeheartedly. Snazzy took a step forward. "You will not bring my son into Anvu, or I will find a way to make you suffer from chronic gastric flu for the rest of your life. Now, get out of here. I have patience to see." And with that, she actually pushed him out of there. "I won't be joining Anvu," said Naruto. "You know it's a prestigious achievement to be in Anvu," said Anko. "I don't want it," said Naruto. "Oh, and by the way, I beat up Nibi." "Spoil sport," Anko said. She stick her tongue out. "Now how can I give her payback with you acting like my little hero?" "Shush it, you got lucky," said Snazzy as she moved closer to the girl, discussing with Anko about how the hell did she know that Naruto could leech people chakra. They will have to get back home and talk about that in private. "So what's gonna happen now about the ranking?" said Naruto. "Well, you and Itachi can probably make it to Chunin, along with the Kumo Jinchuriki too. Maybe even that guy wielding that sword," said Shizune as she moved close and checked Naruto's pulse. Shizune, why is Itachi here?" said Naruto. "Didn't he defeat me?" "Well, no, Naruto-kun. You suddenly got back up and landed some strange hits. You even yanked him towards you without moving." "What? You defeated Nibi? You fight that first guy and you end in a draw with Itachi? Are you on steroids?" Anko asked. "Nonsense," said Snazzy. "I saw it clearly. The chameleon summons. But I didn't see when you actually summoned him," she said. Suddenly, Fukaku entered the room, along with Mikato and a fussing Sasuke as well. "That would explain why Sasuke lost. And no visible technique to the Sharingan," said Fukaku. "I should have made Itachi sign the Hawk summoning scroll. But I didn't think that Naruto-kun would have signed one. Or the chakra to conjure up a summon to begin with," said Fukaku. "Wait, you didn't see it?" said Snazzy. "Are you telling me whatever my son summoned, you didn't actually see it?" "I did not. I deactivated Sharingan when the fight was over. Or at least when I thought it was," said Fukaku. "You just got lucky, Senju. My big brother is far stronger than you," Itachi said. "Sasuke, stop yelling near my ears," Itachi said. As Sasuke was ridiculously close to Itachi's ear, his yelling woke him up. "But brother, he cheated. He used..." "Sasuke, ninjas do that. They cheat, they lie, they play dirty. We are ninjas," Fukaku said. "So," Itachi said, "I doubt that you want your chameleon summon to stay around, right?" "You got me," said Naruto. "I didn't know. You know I promised that we will fight it fair." "I don't even know which one did," said Naruto. "I'm gonna find out though." "Why would my brother trust you?" Sasuke said. "You broke your word and did not give him a fair fight." "Sasuke," Itachi said as he motioned for him to come, before he poked him in the forehead. "Be quiet. Trust me. When I tell you that Naruto gave his words, he will see through it, and I believe him, and you should too. So apologize for overreacting." "But..." he grumbled. "Fine." As he turned towards Naruto. As he walked up, he bowed his head slightly. "I'm sorry." Apology accepted, said Naruto, as Mikoto turned towards Itachi, as she started talking about the proper way of teasing, because what he said out there in the arena. As Uncle watched him, she felt happy for her friends, but she felt pain in her heart. Yes, a slight twinge of pain. There wasn't anyone that would come to see her after all. Her friends abandoned her when she became Orochimaru's student because they barely come around, and then they completely abandoned her after Orochimaru betrayed Konoha. Her sensei abandoned her, and she had no one that would actually come through the door to see her weak self. She knew it, but she still hoped. The door then opened as Kurenai, along with Ibiki and Asuma and Sarutobi came in. Kurenai did wave at Anko before moving closer towards Naruto, but Ibiki came over to her. So, how are you doing? He said. To say she was surprised, that was an understatement. Of all the people, Ibiki Marino, as he was recently IT Jonin, interrogation and torturing department. Well, fine, but my way of fine is different from most people. Crack ribs, broken bones. But the painkillers, make it a blast, she said, as they went on with some small chatter. On the other side, Naruto was being fussed over second affinity with Wing Element, Asuma said, as he was not with a cigarette, even though it was killing him on the inside to light up one right here. But that wouldn't be wise in the hospital bay, so he just spoke to Naruto instead. And the other reason was, he didn't want to cross Navi. Same with Hiruzen, who knew that he shouldn't be smoking tobacco. For health reason. No, said Naruto. Only water Finte. I trained from scratch with the cousin no Yaiba. Since Jiraiya showed it to me. Did you watch the fight? Naruto asked. At the question, Hiruzen nodded briefly before replying. I'm sure he did. Wherever he was hiding, that is. Well, if you keep this up, you're gonna have a bounty on your head soon enough. You defeated their Jinjulki, Asuma joke. Maybe you'll reach mine one day, he said. As he said that, a set of murderous gaze turned towards him. Poor son of mine, you should have learned to keep your mouth, Hiruzen said, as he went for his pipe and placed it towards his mouth, only to feel a murderous gaze on him as well. I have this bad habit of smoking when things turn bad. I'm the kami of shinobis. I'm the third Hokage, and As that was all in his mind. I'll go outside, he said. Good fight in the arena, Naruto-kun, he said, as he made his way outside. I'll be going to, Asuma said, as Kurenai made her way after snapping a few pictures of Naruto. Anyway, I'll be off too, even if you didn't make it to Chunin today. You'll do fine next time, Ibiki said. You're starting TNI internship nevertheless, understood? Good. See ya, he says he left the room. He doesn't even let someone say no to him. I like that, Uncle said. Snally-san, when will Itachi be ready to leave? Asked Fukaku. He's got some heavy bruise to the stomach, but no internal bleeding or organ rupturing. But some broken ribs, a cast to the torso for a week, and he'll be good. Sorry, Itachi. Sorry I didn't double check they dismissed themselves truthfully. Not your fault. I'll just take it easy, said Itachi. Time skip. A couple days later, Naruto Senju, Chunin of Konoha, adopted son of Tsunade Senju, disowned by the Yellow Flash of Konoha and Kushina Uzumaki, holder of Nine-Tailed Fox the Kyuubi, B-rank shinobi of incredible potential even at his young age. His chakra affinity is water, his secondary affinity is wind. He possessed no particular Kekkei, but he might yet have to unlock it. Worthy of notice, his summoning contract with chameleons, and his master of the transformation jutsu. The jutsu seen by him are the Kiri Hidden Mist Jutsu, the Kaze no Iba Wind Jutsu, the summoning jutsu, and the transformation jutsu. Mission completed. 431 D rank, 33 C rank, 0 B rank, 0 A rank, and 1 S rank. Enemies defeated. Worthy of notice, Yujito of Homo, Jinjulki. He is known as the Ghost Lance. Bounty on his head, 50,000 Ryu. I got a bounty on my head, Naruto said, as he was waving around the book that Kakashi had put on his decks. Other Chunins around look a bit annoyed, but they understand. Some of them, when they got the same thing, they were surprised as well. As a recently made Chunin, his duties were wide and varied. Firstly, there was apprenticeship. To learn to lead, you must learn to obey, and choose the path that you want to take in future. And Naruto Senju chose the path of becoming a Jonin Sensei, meaning that at this moment while he was still a Chunin, he could solo take missions on his own. He could take team missions as well with Kakashi, B rank. He could train in the Chunin grounds, and he had a nice flak jacket with the Senju symbol sewn on the back. But to become a Jonin, you had to be exceptionally skilled, like Kakashi, or go under an apprenticeship. So right now he was behind a desk, surrounded by other Chunins, Chunin senseis, The first day at the Ninja Academy of Konoha assigned to Chunin's Aruka Mino as he was waving the bingo book around. The scene was also being watched by a recently adopted Onvu who was perched outside on a tree. If Naruto had turned the page of the bingo book, he would have found out that he wasn't alone in there. On the other pages, you would find the name of Itachi Uchiha, Chunin of Konoha, son of Mikoto Uchiha and Fukaku Uchiha, B-rank shinobi. Shows incredible potential even at his young age. His affinity for fire, his second affinity for water. He possesses Sharingan Dojutsu, worthy of notice, Ai Kenjutsu, that seem to react faster than a normal Sharingan wielder. Jutsus being seen, the Fire Jutsu Katon, the Water Jutsu. Missions completed, 431 D ranks, 33 C ranks, 0 B, 0 A, and 1 S. Enemies defeated that was worth notice. Main Jutsu, Hoshigaki, of the Hoshiki clan. He is known as the Incubus. The bounty on his head is 75,000 Ryu per flay to be captured alive. Obviously, Itachi wouldn't say it was because of his dojutsu. The reason why he was on a capture alive notice. Although the bounty on his head and Naruto would rise in the coming years, he had this childish part of him that said that his bounty was bigger than Naruto. As he made his way off, as he would guard Naruto from the darkness, and Naruto will become Hokage, he would be in the shadows until the time comes when the Uchihas would no longer be shoved in the corner, and the foundation of Konoha would grow. The friendship between the Uchihas and Senju would make anew. That was Itachi's thoughts through all of this. Yes, that is how things would go. He would make sure of it. Time skip. It was 5 in the morning as Ayam was sulking. The ramen girl was not in a good mood at all. She told me that you'd be sleeping it off. As she chopped the onion, chopping into the chopping board, that he'll be sleeping for hours. Woke up minutes later. Ayam, her father, called. As she turned, "You got too much vegetables," he said, as she looked toward a small pile of chopped vegetables. "Oh," she said, "more vegetables, brought for the day then. I suppose," said Toki, as a flap opened up to reveal a well-known customer. "Oh hey, Toki-san, Ayam-chan. How are you doing?" said Senju Naruto, as he moved and sat down on one of these stools. "Oh, everything is fine, Naruto-kun. So, you made it to Chunin now, huh? Only 11 years old and already a Chunin. Congratulations are in order. Naruto-kun, I watched you fight in the arena. You are really strong," Ayam pointed out, her eyes sparkling a bit as her sour mood was gone. "Can you sign me autograph?" she asked. "Sure," said Naruto. "You know, you're not even the first one to ask me that. Neji came over with like 400 papers, claiming that he had friends that wanted them too." "Did you really sign all of them?" she asked. "Water affinity save the day. I control the water, don't ink on paper, and let it seep through all of them." "Hey old man, I'll have a pork ramen and a vegetable ramen takeaway," said Naruto. "Bring in food to Midarashi-san," Toki asked. "Yeah, she's cheery, alright with her job. But she likes seeing me going for the walk," he said. Ayam giggled cheerfully, before adding just a teeny pinch of pepper, more than expected, into Midarashi vegetable ramen order. She knew that Uncle didn't really like spicy things, but Ayam was too good to do anything wicked. She was just slightly jealous that Naruto seemed to be liking her better. After all, he said he liked her sea ramen, and yet he doesn't order it. "So what's going on with their class? How did the first day go?" asked Toki. At those words, Naruto couldn't help but laugh. Flashback, 2 days prior, as Naruto looked at Aruka Mino, the Chunin sensei that he had learned under for a year when he was younger, as he twitched slightly. "It was just a suggestion. You know, Naruto-kun," Aruka said, "it will help ease in the students." "No," said Naruto, "I will not transform into adult female," as he suggested that female teachers are easier for the students to get used to, like they would revolt on seeing him. "They're kids. They will learn. They're here to learn," said Naruto. Mizuki Sensei was assigned to be the assist sensei of this class. "So I must warn you, there are many clan ears in this class. Favoritism could be..." Naruto shrugged him off as he opened the door and walked in, without hesitation. The class descended into silence. A lot of eyes settled on Naruto, the boy that should be upperclassman, not their sensei. Yet he was wearing the flap jacket, blue-dyed, as it was different from the others, with the Senju symbol, the blue stream coming down rather swiftly, and a white shimmer on the edge. His leaf forehead protector was on his right arm, and he had on blue pants and black sandals. As Naruto scanned the room, looking at all the shocked Genins that were there, as he smirked. "Those who watch the Chunin exams, raise your hand now," he said. All of the kids in the class are currently 6 to 7 years old, as hands start to go up quickly. "Good, so you know who I am, and there's no need for presentations. But I'll do it nevertheless," said Naruto. "Listen up, my name is Naruto Senju, Chunin Sensei Assistant. to Aruka Mino, your classroom teacher. Yes, I'm 11 years old. Yes, I'm strong, and yes, I can give you remarks, punishments, and extra homework if I want to. So treat me like you treat any normal teacher, and you might live. With that, he moved towards his desk with a chuckle. A smaller one as he sat down. The boys and the girls turned their head towards Aruka. See? Told you they wouldn't revolt, said Naruto. Aruka sighed. He stood up from his desk. I am Aruka Mino, he said, your Chunin sensei. Together, with Naruto Senju here, we will help you become shinobis and kunoichis of the leaf. I hope, by doing that to the end of the 6 years that you spent here, you have grown up into mature and... Aruka was cut off though. That's boring. Bro, when do we get taijutsu practice? Said Inazaka Kiba, with his small white puppy on top of his head, as Aruka's face started to get steamy. As Naruto stood up, Kiba-kun, he said, his tone then became strict. You will address Aruka-san as Amino Sensei or Aruka Sensei, and I am Senju Sensei or Naruto Sensei in this class, and you damn well remember it. So keep your damn mouth shut and sit down in that chair, and if I see you snoring for a second or making pranks, I'll grab you by the ear and get your mother here. And remember, I'm babysitting you this Friday, so don't whine, said Naruto. Kiba sulked down into his chair. Probable troublemaker immediately rooted out. As Aruka, mouth was open like a fish as he looked towards Naruto with a puzzled eyebrow. What? You just gotta know how to deal with this situation, said Naruto. Good. Well, I wanted to show you the lesson, but why don't you go and handle first day, Aruka said. First day? Sure, said Naruto. Alright, first day of school. Roll call. It's supposed to happen. If I manage to call your name 3 times and you're here before the 3rd one, you will be not marked as late, said Naruto. A hand then raised. Yes, Naruto said. How much time do you estimate it will take you to reach Nara's surname and call the name Shikamaru Nara 3 times? Shikamaru asks, as Naruto looked at the register with the names on it, as he made a quick calculation in his head. For today, I would say 5 minutes and 37 seconds, but interruptions, people being missing, and me repeating their names, it may increase the time to about 7 to 8 minutes. Shikamaru sighed. Troublesome. You could come in an average of 5 minutes later, said Naruto, but that wouldn't do you any good. You'll miss tests and exams, and your mother is bound to notice. Shikamaru flinched at that. Bro, Senju Sensei, Kiba said. Did you babysit him too? As Kiba saw Shikamaru straighten up once, but it was incredibly easy. The only thing you had to do was put him on a chair and let him watch your clothes. Easiest D rank ever. As Shikamaru turned his head. Are you the Naruto Senju? The one of the fixer's team. A girl with long blonde hair asked, as she looked at him with dreamy eyes. Ino Yamanaka, right? I recall a weeded mission near family greenhouse. And as he moved his gaze to the girl next to her. Sakura Haruno, yep. The two of you made Itachi mad, always running on the pile of leaves. As Naruto chuckled as he remembered their memory quite well, Itachi was thinking of turning on the Sharingan to subdue them. The pink-haired girl blushed slightly, fidgeting with her hair. As next to them was a boy. He scoffed. Big brother wouldn't get angry over that. And he's an Anvu now. Unlike you, Senju, Sasuke said. As Naruto locked gaze with him before laughing. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. They gave me the same deal, Sasuke-kun, he said. But I refuse. No need getting paid to draw more blood than what a ninja already does, he said. Anvus are the elites amongst the elites. They protect the village from shadows. It simply means that Itachi is stronger than you, said Sasuke. Before Aruka could reply, Naruto spoke up. Yeah, he's stronger than me. And so? In taijutsu, you always win doing spars. In jutsu, he has a far more large repertoire than mine. In genjutsu, he's quite advanced. In kinjutsu, he's clearly ahead of me. In fuinjutsu, I'm the leader. But tell me, what does it prove? We are fellow shinobis of Leaf. His strength is my strength, and my strength is his. There is no such thing as a fellow Leaf ninja stronger than another. Our strengths are added together to protect the village. And anyway, we end up with a draw at the Chunin tournament, he said. So any other question, he said. Are you really my brother? Everyone paused at that. As the atmosphere in the class seemed to drop a lot. The question was asked by a girl with bright blue eyes. Red hair tied together in 2 separate ponytails going to her back. She had an orange jacket with an orange shirt underneath with red lines going down. As she had on an orange skirt as well. No, said Naruto. He had prepared for this moment as he knew that she would be here. I'm not. But she tried to reply, but he looked at her with a small smile as he spoke up. My name is Naruto Senju, Katsumi-chan. I am in no way related to Namikaze clan, so there is no way I could be your brother, he said. As Naruto tapped his finger on the desk, It was a signal for Aruka to butt in. Well, anyway, let's start the roll call, Naruto-san, Aruka said. As Naruto started to call the names until he reached Namikaze Katsumi. She did not reply. As he looked at her, she was staring at him with an angry pout on her face. But he just checked that she was here. Nara. I didn't say I was present, said Katsumi. But you're present, said Naruto. But the law said I'm not, she yelled back. She cursed herself. Why did she have to yell? Couldn't she just talk? Damn it. Law? Aruka raised eyebrows at that. He said we need to call him present before he calls our name 3 times. And I did not reply. But you are present, Katsumi-chan, Aruka said. So, he's not my brother because of some law. So I'm not present because of some law too, right? As Naruto started to shake a bit, Aruka turned towards him. He started to laugh as he burst out laughing. That was pure genius, he said, as he threw back his head and started to laugh. Kiba turned towards Katsumi. I think you broke him. Well then fine, said Naruto. By laws, I am not your brother. But by facts, I am. Now on with the present, said Shikamaru. As Shikamaru was sleeping, his hand was up as he spoke present. Aruka-san, can you notify Yoshino Nara? Shikamaru's head shot up as he looked around. Fine. Fine, he said as he looked at Naruto. The entire class started to laugh. Troublesome, he said. In the flashback, well, you handle it with class, took his head. He realized the horrible pun that he let out as he chuckled a bit. Well, you should know what happened next day, said Naruto. Flashback. As Naruto looked at the classroom and then looked at Aruka. Aruka looked at Naruto and then back at the classroom. There were a bunch of girls, 6-year-old girls, wearing a dark blue clothing with the Senju symbol stitched onto them. I should be flattered, said Naruto. I mean, you didn't cover what a teacher is supposed to do if he becomes the subject of a fan club attention. Because it should be impossible. No student loved their teacher this openly, Aruka said. It should be impossible. He lowered his head. I guess not with you, from what I've heard. Well, you should keep an eye out for jealous fathers. I suppose so. The door then swung open as the Hokage entered the room. This was customary, so Naruto expected the first day was to break the ice, speak with the teachers, and speak with the other students. The second day was the Hokage going from class to class to interest his view and then promise students of the village that would later on become village ninjas. Although they didn't have to know that a handful of them would be returning back when they fail, if they fail that is. As the man removed his hat, showing his spiky blonde hair. Hokage-sama, Aruka said. He made a silent bow of the head, followed by Naruto who didn't say anything. We were just about to begin the roll call. Good. Then I suppose I can wait till you're done before giving off the speech, right? As Naruto didn't even look at him, he just picked up the register and started to call names. As soon as the roll call was out of the way, Naruto's eyes turned towards Aruka, who nodded. All yours, Hokage-sama, said Aruka. As Minato turned towards all the students and started to speak. The fire shadow illuminated the village. As ninjas, or a student that wish to become strong shinobis and kunoichis, know that many times you have to sacrifice something in order to protect the village. Many times a ninja good deed go unnoticed, left alone to rot in silence, because the village demands it. If it is for the good of many, then sacrifices are needed. The most important thing for a shinobi though is teamwork. The bonds that you will make that will guide you through the difficult parts. You may be afraid of the future, afraid of what might come, but never falter on the belief that your friends, your bonds, that they're there for you. The second Hokage of Konoha, Tobirama Senju, said once to his student, the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, guide the people and believe in them, because it's among that group where one will come that will guide the others when your time has passed. This academy is his testament to the shinobi world, where the young minds will grow up to become strong and loyal. As you know, sit at your desk, listen to me. I was once in your place, same as you were. Listen to the third Hokage give off his speech. To me, Konoha isn't just an organization. Every year, there are ninjas, a lot of them born and raised in Konoha. They live, they fight to protect this village, to defend what is precious to them. They will go to their death. Even if we're not related by blood, those of the village are my most precious, most important family. Bonds are what make people strong. Friends are what make people rise. And teammates are what bring people successful missions. Never forget the will of fire. Love is the key to peace. The classroom went silent as they looked rather uneasy. Did I lay it on too thick? Minato whispered to the other two. What the fourth Hokage is trying to say is, value friendship, that is all, said Naruto. As sighs could be heard, sighs of relief, as they could understand Naruto a lot more. I guess I should have gone the less formal speech, said Minato. The speech was beautiful, Hokage-sama. But maybe it would have gone better with the elder classes, Aruka said. Yeah, I'll probably repeat it at graduation class. Just as he was about to turn and leave, he waved to Katsumi, but she ignored him completely. She was sulking, as Naruto wasn't going to pry. Just as the Hokage left, Shino raised his hand. Yashino-kun, Aruka said. Are animal companions included? Yes, they are, said Aruka. Kikaichu have a lifespan of a few hours. Should I feel sorry for those who die in less than a day? Asked Shino. They're just insects, said Kiba. It's not like they're Kiba, said Naruto. As Kiba turned towards Naruto, if dogs have a lifespan of a few hours, would you still feel that way? Kiba lowered his gaze. His mind couldn't even think about that if Akamaru would be taken away from him. As Naruto turned towards Shino, to answer your question, Shino-kun, you should not feel sorrow or contempt. Kikaichu, from what your father told me once, they are offered the newborns a bird may want to use as nests. In exchange for their loyalty, it's a symbiotic relationship under them by staying alive. But don't feel sorrow, they chose it. Shino merely nodded. End of flashback. The vegetable ramen is ready, Naruto-kun, as Ayam handed Naruto the bowl. It was covered, just in time for him to finish his own food. Pay, as he waved goodbye. It was a running joke that the both of them had, seeing that Naruto was now a chunin and he had more money coming in. He was to treat her to breakfast until she became chunin as well, and when she did, she would treat him to dango for a long period. The result was, every damn morning she woke up, brushed her teeth, to go to the IT apprenticeship. She saw Naruto waiting, as he had a bowl of ramen waiting for her. Vegetable ramen, said Naruto, as Uncle grabbed the paper bag. Did Ayam prepare? She asked. That she did. Are you two getting along? Naruto asked. As Uncle need good friends to rely on. And Ayam was the most sweetest girl he knew. Oh yes, did she understand not to put chili in my sea ramen? She's still learning, cut her some slack. And it's not like some spicy will hurt you. Sorry, I got to get going. C rank, solo, long term, escorting. See ya, as he dashed off. As Naruto made his way towards the gates of the Haikyuu compound, to be greeted by the guards. Senju-sama, I'm afraid Hinata-sama has yet to arrive. The guard stationed there, Keiyo, was Hinata caretaker on the inside. And Naruto was supposed to make sure she reached her destination. Keiyo-san, please call me Naruto. I hate formalities. And is Neji still here? Neji-kun departed this morning, Naruto-sama, Keiyo said. He had a light sorrow in his face as he spoke. Supposed to. He probably think I abandoned him, said Naruto with a sigh. When you see him, can you tell him I'll be waiting for him tonight? At Train Ground 3. When he get there, I'll wait, said Naruto. I will relay the message. As the man stiffened, as Hayashi arrived, with Hinata at his side. I heard about your desire to teach, but I never expected such coincidence, Hayashi said. Should any problem arise to my eldest daughter, do come speak to me, Naruto-san. Naruto held out his hand as Hinata looked towards her father, who nodded. She made her way forward and grabbed Naruto's hand. Don't worry, Hayashi-san, said Naruto. I'll make sure everything is alright, he said, as he gave Hayashi a small bow before heading off. As Hinata walked beside him, holding on to his hand. The moment they were a good distance away, your father is really scary, said Naruto, as he said in a rather joking tone. He's only really strict, Sensei, Hinata said. Her face was incredibly red from holding his arm. Still, this was better than the first time when she fainted, and she turned so red it was like she was gonna explode. He remained scary, Hinata-chan. Anyway, have you done this week's assignments already, Naruto asked. Yes, Sensei, she said. Good. Remember, don't let Kiba copy them. As she slowly nodded, as Naruto knew in the first week, Kiba wouldn't do his homework. And if Ino-chan or Sakura-chan tried to rocket you into join my fan club, please warn me, okay? Well, what your sensei didn't know, she was already in his fan club for a long time ago. But she just wasn't talkative about it. Yes, Sensei, she said. As they arrived, he waved goodbye to her. She made her way towards the class first, as he made his way towards the Chunin lounge to get his morning coffee and also the schedule. Kami blessed the inventor of the coffee machine, the person that created, because while Shizune was a great cook and Tsunade was a wonderful mother, both of them neglected to give him coffee, saying that it wasn't good for his growth. In the Chunin lounge, he was greeted by Mizuki, who just finished his own cup of coffee. Naruto-san, said Mizuki. Mizuki-san, said Naruto, as he moved towards the coffee machine. How's your class doing? Well, said Mizuki, from the preliminary tests, I would say that your apprentice is gonna be at the top of the class. What about yours? Well, if I can manage to convince the girls that I'm not gonna play in marriage with them, all will be fine. The Yamanaka seemed to be the main culprit. I just hope it doesn't spread, as Mizuki winks at that. Hey, you remember that move of throwing kunai straight out of scrolls? He asked. Yeah? Why, said Naruto. One in my class, Tenten, hasn't stopped speaking about how cool that move is, and she recently started dressing blue. I give up, said Naruto. Let the fan club expand. I'm sure there has to be someone that hates me somewhere. Well, Mizuki said, I'm sure some of the villagers still hate you, but most of them are too impressed with your skills, your display, and the clan that you're now in, and also your natural goodwill to say anything. And you don't look like a Tower 90 fox, so thank Kami said Naruto, or they would probably make a plushie version of it. Despite that, Naruto felt good, cozy. After all, here he was joking about his status as a Jinjulke. He had a fan club, a family. He had friends. He felt cozy and nice. After all, recently he was running from a mob. Yeah, you remember that. Not so recent, but you remember that. Good and well. And now he was a center talk of the new generations. It felt nice. Now only if he could convince Neji to stop avoiding him, everything would be nice. Time skip. After school day was over and he brought Hinata home, he made his way to Training Ground 3. As he waited, he sent a chameleon to give a letter to his mother because he was gonna have dinner with Neji. He was gonna stop by Ichiraku's. He was gonna be late. As he waited and waited, as the moon started to creep up into the sky, as he waited and waited until he heard footsteps. Took you long enough. 3 hours ago I was gonna plan to have dinner with you at Ichiraku's, he said. Thought you'd have left already. Don't you have to wake up in the morning to take that weekend to school? Said Neji. Why hadn't he refused the proposal of the main house to escort Hinata? He accepted, and he just went along with everything, and he carried her to school. As Neji saw him and he was listening to everything the main house said, like he was now a slave of the family. Well, he was not doing anything out of the way, but still, Neji, I understand that you're jealous, but I'm not jealous, said Neji. As he spurted out angrily. He was angry and feeling betrayed, but he was not jealous. She belonged to the main family. You told me I should focus my anger on who killed my father, and not innocent bystanders. The main family killed my father. They hold the branch family hostage. They hold me slave. Neji, sensei, a 4-year-old branch member threw a ball. It hit in the pond and soaked one of the main members. And you know what they did? They used a seal. No 4-year-old should suffer such agonizing pain. So do not defend them. As Naruto grabbed Neji into a hug. It's not right, Neji. But what did Hinata do to you? He said. She wasn't the cause. Not more than any other child in the Hyuga clan might be. To be kidnapped by a Komo shinobi. I know they're wrong for doing what they did, especially to a child. But Hinata, she called you Neji-san. Big brother. You can hate the birdcage seal. You can hate the elders of the clan. But don't hate the innocent, said Naruto. Neji looked down as Naruto released him. Sensei, I'm sorry. Naruto flicked him right on his nose. Don't be. I told you once, I'm gonna tell you again. I'm gonna remove that wretched seal from your forehead and your family. And I'm gonna change the Hyugas. Said Naruto with a smile. Come on, he said. I'll take you home. As he made his way with Neji, the time was already too late. As Naruto thought in his mind as he walked, following through his lessons, here he come. After all, he made a promise. He was gonna remove that damn seal off Neji's forehead. But guys, be in subs right here. If you want the next part you want to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the notifications they posted. But I'm off now. See you guys soon. Peace.